A busy week in Atlanta, both President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris visiting the city to talk about voting rights. A notable name was missing, though, Stacey Abrams. She later explained it was a scheduling conflict. Joining me now, Chuck Todd, moderator of Meet the Press. So, Chuck, some analysts were calling this a snub, saying Abrams is distancing herself from the president as she prepares to run for governor here, although both the president and Mrs. Abrams say that this was just a conflict. So what should we read into her absence from the events on Tuesday?
Well, I'm a believer that if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? Martin Luther King III basically put out a note to activists explaining why he wasn't boycotting. Right? We know where the activists were on this. Stacey Abrams is basically the leading activist. She didn't want to. Look, I think she was thinking about that there was no upside on this for her among the activist community. And Joe Biden's not exactly popular either, so it is hard for me to believe this is scheduling, considering how many people came down. You know, it's hard to see it that way, but I think it tells you why the president went down there and gave what was a very partisan speech, because the activists, don't believe he's done enough on voting rights. And if you look at it, we did an analysis of his public events schedule for the last year since he took the oath. He's done 60-plus public events on COVID. He's done 35-ish events on infrastructure and Build Back Better. The Atlanta speech this week was his second public event on voting rights. Second. So I understand why activists think that how have you not prioritized this existential threat that you talk about?
Yeah, those numbers are telling there. Switching to the other side of the political aisle, Governor Kemp this week delivering his State of the State address. He talked about expanding gun rights, fairness in sports, critical race theory, all the things that conservatives want to hear. So what is the state of his campaign right now?
Well, look, I think it's all going to depend on what happens as this thing keeps developing. I mean, I feel like we're not fully engaged yet. Like, are we going to see, how does the campaign trail itself yet? This because of COVID and because the new year, it feels like we see a lot of press releases, we see a lot of tweets. I want to see what happens when actual voters start engaging.
All right.
I'll just be frank.
Chuck, always good to hear from you. Meet the Press airs Sunday morning at 10 on 11 Alive. Chuck, thank you.